What up, y'all? It's Micah Bournet, and you are currently in my home, more specifically my bedroom, and I'm standing in front of what I like to call the wall of blackness. And you see a lot of different snapshots from Black American history. And when I was younger and I would learn about Black history, I learned about the Civil Rights Movement, I learned about the Black Panther Party. I used to romanticize that era in American history. I used to say, oh man, like if I was alive back then, I definitely would have participated in the March on Washington, and I definitely would have sat in at segregated lunch counters, and I definitely would have joined the Black Panthers, you know what I'm saying, with the leather jackets and the black berets and the gun hanging over my shoulder. Like I totally would have been this just fist in the air activist, you know? That's how I thought. But as I got older, as I matured, and as I realized, although we have made a lot of progress, there is still a lot of work to be done. And recently, because of technology and we becoming more aware of the just severity of police brutality, and because of research and books like the new Jim Crow, we see institutional racism in so many ways in our nation is still a thing. And I realized, if there's still work to be done and I'm not doing it now, what makes me think that I would have done something back then, back in the day, when it was even a greater risk to do that? And so kind of having that epiphany, like, whatever I'm doing now is what I would have done back then. It made me realize I need to get to work. I need to be more intentional with the gifts and with the things that I'm good at to push forward in this nation when it comes to racial reconciliation. So all of that together kind of gave birth to this project, and more specifically this album, A Time Like This. In the past, when I've done projects, I've just kind of lived and wrote poems and wrote songs, and after a couple years collected those and put out an album. But this project is different. A Time Like This, the name is appropriate because almost all of these songs were written from January to now. After Trump got elected, I had a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions, a lot of frustrations, and I started writing. And these songs are speaking directly into the current state of America and American culture and the world, really. And so that's a shift in how I've created. And in the past, I've always written about everything. I've written about any experience in life. But I know a lot of folks who dig some of the things I've done in the past appreciate the thoughts I have on faith. And already I've starting to get a little backlash from folks who said I've been writing and posting about stuff that's been too political. And I need to kind of stick to what I've been talking about. But to me, this is a natural progression. I don't feel like I'm changing or straying, but I'm meeting the needs of the time. And when I look back on the Civil Rights Movement, one of the biggest critiques of the Civil Rights Movement, which largely came out of the Black church, Martin Luther King got together with a lot of Christian leaders and pastors and really crafted the Civil Rights Movement. And a lot of their opposers were other people of faith who said, why are you marching on Washington? Why are you pushing to get laws changed? Because, whether they're right or wrong, it's just politics. Like your job, you're in the business of saving souls. You should just be preaching and make sure people go to heaven when they die. And their response was, what are you talking about? We're not doing this because we want political power. This isn't just politics that we need to stay out of. When you're talking about people's rights getting infringed upon, when you're talking about people being dehumanized, you know what I'm saying, and the very image of God in them being disrespected, and women and children being marginalized and objectified, then we're not talking about politics anymore. We're talking about right and wrong, and we're talking about good and evil, and that should be of most concern to people of faith, but to really everybody. I've already started recording this album, but as I mentioned before, it's a very now album, and so I'm trying to get it out as soon as possible because I think it has a lot to say to our current context. But in order to complete it in a timely manner and to also make sure it has the maximum impact, I'm gonna need your help. I'm aiming to raise $20,000. And just to give you an idea of how that money will be used, the album is going to have 12 to 15 songs on it. And just recording the songs alone costs $1,200 per track. So just the recording, that'd be $18,000 if we did a 15-track album. And then you have the cost of promotion and the album artwork and any possible videos and so many other expenses associated with releasing an album. So if you support what I've been about, if you believe in the things I've talked about here, please consider partnering with me. And I'm sure that no matter who you are or what you believe, this album is going to challenge you and hopefully inspire you. And it is definitely needed in a time like this.
No, we ain't never marched for diamonds, never with the man you love. Just air to breathe, space to be.